This video was created for educational purposes only.
Abby Choi was a fast-growing internet sensation from Hong Kong. She was known for her career as a model and influencer. Abby was reported missing on February the 21st, 2023. Just 3 days later, on February the 24th, Abby Choi's headless body was discovered in a village in Tai Po, a suburb in Hong Kong. Reports would confirm that some of her body parts were hidden inside a refrigerator, and some of her body parts had actually been cooked. Abby would originally debuted as a social media influencer. Even though she already had a significant amount of followers on a handful of social media accounts for several years, her notability in her hometown of Hong Kong was still quite small as of mid-2022. She also attended the Paris Fashion Week regularly, and had been featured in several big magazines such as Elle, Harper's Bazaar, and even Vogue. She also had an Instagram following of more than 100K at the time of her death. Choi was featured on the cover of fashion and luxury lifestyle magazine, L'Officiel Monaco. Also in that issue is an article praising Choi as a fashion icon, who could mix and match different pieces in ways that made her a trendsetter. Choi was born into a normal life with a normal family. Shortly after she was born, her mother divorced her biological father and married a man with the surname Choi. Her mother would then go on to have 2 more daughters, giving Abby 2 younger half-sisters. Shortly after, Abby's parents would start up a very successful construction and mining company that made them very, very wealthy. Abby's net worth was estimated to be more than 100 million Hong Kong dollars at the time of her death. She also co-founded a charitable organization, known as Payoms, which is a group dedicated to help stray animals. Abby would get married at the young age of 18, to a man named Alex Kwong back in 2012. They would have 2 children during the marriage. The marriage would only last 4 years, with them getting divorced in 2016 for unclear reasons. Later that same year, Choi would marry her new lover Chris Tam, who remained her husband until she passed away. Tam was the son of the founder of Tam Jai International, a popular restaurant chain in Hong Kong. The couple did not legally register their marriage, but still went on to have 2 beautiful children together. After his wife's unexpected and tragic death, Tam would go on to state that he was grateful to have had the time he did with Choi, describing her as kind-hearted and a good person. She always wanted to help people. I feel anyone who had a chance to be her family or her friend are blessed. She also brought up 4 cute and obedient kids, and she supported me and loved me very much, Tam said in a statement. After the news of her death hit the media, Choi's Instagram page was flooded with thousands of comments of fans sending their condolences. February the 21st was a normal day, just as any. Until Choi left on her way to pick up one of her kids, but ultimately never showed. This left her loved ones concerned. They knew that this was out of character for Choi, who was a loving and responsible mother. Also, her absence wouldn't go unnoticed for long. Choi was a very popular Hong Kong fashion influencer and model that has hundreds of thousands of online fans. After her disappearance, on February the 21st, Choi's family would report her missing. Choi was reported missing after she failed to pick up her daughter from school as she normally did. But she didn't take the trip alone. She last entered a car driven by her hired driver and business partner, Anthony Kwong, who is the brother of her ex-husband, Alex Kwong. Choi and Anthony Kwong had become pretty close over the years, so close in fact, that Choi had even previously assisted her ex-brother-in-law in buying his own home. Just 3 days after being reported missing, on February the 24th, the search for Abby Choi would come to a tragic end. Police would make the gruesome discovery of the dismembered body of Hong Kong model Abby Choi in a refrigerator in a house rented by Kwong Kao, who is the father of her former husband Alex Kwong. Some of her body parts were hidden inside a refrigerator, and some of them were cooked. It was pretty obvious that the police classified the case as a homicide. A meat slicer and electric saw were also found at the scene, according to police statements to the media. It was mostly unfurnished, with canvas covering the walls and windows. Detectives have now said that they think that was designed to be a splatterproof body disposal workshop. Police allege the 28-year-old was killed by blunt force trauma to the head. It is not yet known what the actual weapon was, but forensic experts have identified a hole in the skull caused by a hard object. She had also been dismembered. Some of her ribs and her skull were found in a stove-top pot inside a refrigerator, while her legs were found in another refrigerator inside the rental home. Authorities stated that a chainsaw, rubber gloves, a meat slicer, raincoats, and an electric saw were also found along with some of Choi's belongings. The flat was arranged meticulously by cold-blooded killers, Police Superintendent Alan Chung Nolawin said at a press conference on February 25. Authorities charged 4 of Choi's in-laws that were reported to be involved in the crime: her ex-husband Alex Kwong, his brother, Anthony Kwong, and Choi's ex-father-in-law Kwong Kao, who is a former police officer, were all arrested and charged with the brutal and horrific slayings of the young mother of 4. Also arrested and charged with perverting the course of justice for allegedly destroying evidence was her ex-mother-in-law, Jenny Lee. Later on in the investigation, 2 more people would be charged. One of the people was a 41-year-old man arrested in connection with the gruesome murder. He was caught trying to help one of the alleged killers flee the city by sea. And his name is Lam Shun, another suspect in the high-profile case, appeared before Kowloon City Court on a charge of assisting an offender with intent to impede his apprehension or prosecution. Yet, he was not required to make a plea as the prosecution sought an adjournment for further investigations. The yacht rental company was said to have masterminded the attempted escape of Alex Kwong to Macau on February the 24th for a 300,000 Hong Kong dollars payout. According to the Morning Post, Kwong was arrested with 500,000 Hong Kong dollars in cash, approximately 94,200 Australian dollars, and several luxury watches worth a total of roughly 4 million Hong Kong dollars, approximately 753,700 Australian dollars. Kwong allegedly conspired with 2 family members to kill his 28-year-old ex-wife Choi, because she planned to sell the house she had bought him and his family. Even though she had promised to buy them a new house, they still allegedly went through with the horrible act. Also, a woman who was unnamed at first, but sources later released her name as Ng Chi Wing, a 47-year-old woman believed to be in a romantic relationship with Kwong Kao, for allegedly helping him rent the apartment where human remains were found and for renting a separate apartment to hide Choi's ex-husband from the police. She has not yet been charged. And the last to be arrested was a 29-year-old woman by the name of Irene Punhauin, that also would be charged with trying to assist in aiding and abetting a homicide suspect. That suspect being Alex Kwong. In the last pretrial hearing, in July 2023, the prosecution has revealed that they have already obtained CCTV footage related to the case, reviewed the suspect's phone and bank records, and prepared video conference records. They are now awaiting forensic reports and the official cause of death. But the defense lawyers for Kwong's family have raised concerns about the time taken to prepare the forensic reports, which have been in the works for over 5 months. They have demanded to know the progress of the reports and how many pieces of evidence have been tested, and have requested a speedy resolution of the case. They have also threatened to apply for legal costs if the reports are not ready by the next court mention. The next court mention is scheduled for October the 11th, 2023. The Kwong family was also once again denied bail and has to stay in custody until the next mention. What's truly sad about this is Choi took care of these people when she didn't have to. And this is how they repay her. Even though her and Alex had divorced in 2016, and Choi remarried, they remained close. They still shared 2 children, and they still remained good friends. They remained such good friends that Choi was still financially taking care of not only her ex-husband Alex, but his entire immediate family, which included both of his parents and his brother. She had even bought him and his family a luxury flat that was worth around 73 million Hong Kong dollars. Police say despite the home being paid for by Choi, it had been registered in the name of Alex Kwong's father Kwong Kao, allegedly in order to avoid a large stamp duty bill. Recently, Choi had made the decision to sell the property, but was still promising to find the Kwongs a new home that she would be paying for. So no big deal, right? Nope. Reports say that the Kwong family was upset by this move. Authorities now believe the death is linked to financial disputes and the selling of the property, stating it could be the actual motive for the tragic crime. The audacity some people have. And not to mention this was the mother of your children. Or in her in-laws' case, the mother of your grandkids. If you loved and cared for your kids, or grandkids, like how can you ever do such a thing? A pre-trial conference was held on May 8, 2023, with 6 of the 7 suspects behind Choi's murder appeared in court. The prosecution stated that bloodstains matching to the DNA of Choi were found inside the car of Anthony Kwong, and more than 30 exhibits seized by the police, including knives, chainsaws and hammers from the rental home, would be sent for DNA processing. A press conference would be held by police to let the public know that they will do everything in their power to make sure that justice would be served to the fullest for Choi and her family, and the people responsible for the horrible crime would be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So what do you think about this case? Do you think authorities have the right culprits? Do you think anyone else is involved? How do you feel about the case overall? Do you think justice will be served accordingly? Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. But that's going to do it for this video. So until next time. Case closed.